Hello and welcome to episode 63 of the Giddy Knits Podcast. As always, I'm Helen and I'm coming to you from Dundee in Scotland, a bright and sunny Dundee today, where I live here, up in Scotland, with my husband Tom and my two boys, Arthur, who is 6, and Jasper, who is 3. Completely threw myself by adding in the bright and sunny Scotland bit. Today is Saturday the 20th of June, so it is Midsummer Day, and as I just said, it is a beautiful sunny day out there today. So the boys are currently in the garden, and Tom said he's about to mow the lawn. I am upstairs with the windows shut, so hopefully it won't be too loud. We'll see. What have I got to say? Welcome back. This is my knitting podcast where I talk about all of my knitting and occasionally crochet and kind of whatever I'm crafting on, really. For those of you that don't know, I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns, and I've created a new screen thingy that you will have seen before I started talking, with all the places that you can find me, because I always forget to say them. And I thought it would be easier to just compile them all in one place on the screen so that if I do forget to say them, it doesn't matter. And what else did I want to mention? I said welcome, didn't I? So welcome back to anyone that watches regularly, and hello to anyone that is new. We are planning a garden day at home today, so I'm afraid you have me in my scruffs with messy hair and bad skin. But yeah, we need to get a bit of weeding done. We need to get a bit of gardening done. We're hoping that it'll be warm enough to get the paddling pool out for the boys. So that is the plan for today. But I wanted to sit down and get a podcast recorded first. Right, I'm going to start with a few little chatty admin-y announcement-y bits. And then I have got a work in progress to share with you, a little bit of blanket progress, quite a lot of yarny goodness. And a little bit of chat on shop news at the end as well. So thank you to everyone that responded to my kind of queries last week about show notes and stuff like that. As you'll know, if you've been a regular viewer, I used to do quite regular show notes on Ravelry and also on my website. But with lockdown happening and everything like that, and the kids being at home full time, it just hasn't been feasible, really. But I know that some of you really like show notes. So I think what I'm going to try and do, well, I'll do it with this episode and we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you think. What I will do is I will try and drop links down below. So I'll create kind of show notes in the YouTube drop down thingy, with links to things that I talk about, patterns, yarn companies, that kind of thing, I think. And then what I will also do is, over in the Ravelry group, what I'll do is I will create an episode thread for each episode going forward, like I used to, but instead of having show notes in there, it will literally just have the video, and then it will be a place where people can kind of chat, ask questions, or anything kind of related to that episode. As I'm sure any of you that have had questions about the podcast or anything like that will know, I'm pretty readily available, that if you do have questions about something that I've seen on the podcast, you can always drop me a message and I will do my best to try and answer any questions. So yeah, hopefully that will work out and you'll find that okay. Let me know if you have any issues or if there's anything else you would like to see. Right, knit-alongs. So we have got one knit-along running in the Ravelry group at the moment, and that is the Giddy Yarns knit-along, which is just an ongoing, rolling knit-along where anything that has been knit out of my yarn, so anything knit out of Giddy Yarns, using at least 50% Giddy Yarn, so it can be a mix of other dyers as well, can be entered for the chance to win a prize. I'm drawing quarterly prizes, so the next draw, I have a visitor. Sorry, minor parenting interruption there. What was I saying? So the next prize draw will be at the end of June, so very soon. So if you have finished anything this year using 50% of my yarn, then get it into the thread to be eligible for prizes for this quarter. I have been very rubbish at announcing prizes. I've had some lovely pattern donations, which I have completely failed to mention, so huge apologies to the designers of those, but I am going to mention them now. We've got 3 patterns up for can you hear that shouting? Okay, sorry about that, interruptions. And as you may see, I now have a little co-host who is sitting and playing Minecraft next to me. What was I trying to say? Pattern prizes. There are 3 pattern prizes up for grabs. And I think what I'm going to do with the pattern prizes is I'm going to draw 3 winners from the entire 6 months of the first Giddy Knits knit along, if that makes sense. So from quarter 1 and quarter 2, I will draw a winner for the patterns across the whole of those 2 quarters. And then there's also going to be 2 Yarny prizes, which will just be drawn from this quarter. I hope that makes sense. So the pattern prizes, let's talk about the pattern prizes quickly. The first prize is from Thistle Glen Designs, and that is a copy of the Gentle Waves shawl, which I've talked about over the last couple of weeks, because I put together yarn kits for the shop for that pattern specifically. And it's an absolutely gorgeous 2-colour shawl with lovely lace, really, really beautiful. I will pop a picture up on the screen so that you can see it, hopefully. And then the other 2 patterns are from Vera, who's a lovely viewer of this podcast, and she has donated a copy of her I Just Dropped My Scarf pattern, and also a copy of her I Just Dropped My Shawl pattern. And these are really fun patterns that involve a mix of little mini cables and dropped stitches to create like a really airy kind of shawl. So again, I will pop up pictures of those 2 shawls as well. So thank you so much for donating the patterns. I'm sorry that I have not mentioned them as prizes until this point. It's just been a bit chaotic. And then in terms of Yarny prizes, I will be donating a prize which will be a skein of my May Nostalgia Club colourway. But I don't want to show you that because I've been keeping an eye on the tracking for international customers, and some of you haven't received yours yet. It's on its way. So I don't want to show them and ruin them on the podcast. But I also have a prize that's been very kindly donated by Debbie at Down Sheepy Lane. And that is this gorgeous skein of her raspberry colourway on her single ply base. And it is really, really pretty. I don't want to give this to you. I want to keep it for myself. So yeah, that is another prize. And I will put together little prize packs with some stitch markers and things like that for the physical prizes as well. What else did I want to talk about knit along wise? I want to run a new knit along, a new kind of short-term knit along, but I am struggling to come up with ideas. I was thinking of doing like a summer sock knit along, but there's quite a lot of podcasts that are doing sock knit alongs at the moment. So I kind of want to do something a bit different. So I don't know. I don't quite know what I want to do. I need to have a little think. I'm thinking of starting it from the 1st of July. So I've got a week or so to have a little think. Well, I guess I've got a week. I'd need to announce it on next week's podcast, wouldn't I? But yeah, if there is anything make along wise, let me just say that again. I'm so rubbish. I always say knit along. Sorry. I mean make along, crochet, weaving, anything you can use yarn for, count. So I want to start a new make along. But I'm not 100% sure what I want to do. I want kind of a summary make along, but I'm not feeling very inspired by it. I'm inspired to start a make along, but I can't think of anything specific to theme it around. Anyway, let me know if you've got any ideas, and I will see if I can come up with an idea this week. But I am planning a make along to start as of the 1st of July. Run through the August. I think we'll make it 2 months. It'll be July and August, and it's going to be something summer themed. See, now I'm talking it through. I'm actually thinking maybe I could do like a seaside themed, like a summer holidays themed make along. So anything that kind of makes you think of summer holidays, whether that's kind of, maybe if we did it seaside themed. So your yarn or your pattern has to be kind of seaside themed. I like that idea. Maybe I'll go with that. Anyway, if you have any other suggestions, then let me know. As Arthur would say,
make sure to comment down below and subscribe.
Make sure to comment down below and subscribe. Yes, so drop me a comment and let me know if you have any make along ideas. Right, let's get into the actual knitting, shall we? Because I think I've been talking for like 10 minutes.
And you haven't even talked anything about knitting.
And I haven't even talked about knitting, no. Your hair really needs a cut. Right, so I've had to put everything behind me because somebody has stolen the seat next to me. So I have got one work in progress that I'm going to talk to you about this week, because it's pretty much the only work in progress apart from my blankets that have had any progress. And that is my Vertices Unite shawl. And I have finally finished the increases. Last night I just started doing the decreases for this section. So I think last time I recorded I was just where that stitch marker is. So you can see that, again, it's a decent amount of progress. And this is the largest section of this shawl. So the pattern is the Vertices Unite by Stephen West. And yeah, this is the largest section of this shawl. And it's kind of like a, I don't know, an irregular diamond kind of shape. You've got this longer section here, and then this will decrease more rapidly to a point, and then for the next section you pick up stitches and knit the next section. So yeah, I'm loving these colours, and I've talked about this a lot recently, so you'll have seen these colours a lot, but I'm using two colours in this section, which are Bramble from Down Sheepy Lane and Jelly of the Month from Suburban Stitcher. And then the next section I think we'll move on to Eek. It's another striped section using these two colours, which are Drought of Rivia from Down Sheepy Lane, one of her Witcher colourways, and oh, I've forgotten the name of this one. Oh, no. I don't know that I've got the thing in here. Promise to Hold Me Tight, I think it was called. Again, it's a Down Sheepy Lane one. It was from her Tim Burton club, and it was it was the colourway for the Miss Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children. Yeah, I think it was called Promise to Hold Me Tight. But yeah, so they're the next two colours that will be striped. So hopefully by next week I will have finished those decreases. And I will be moving on to the next section, which would be good. But I am really enjoying how this looks. I'm knitting the larger size, which is probably why this is taking me a lot longer. And it's going to be really big, isn't it? If this is just the first section already and I'm knitting the larger size. But I do love a big cosy shawl, so that's fine. I just have to accept that it's going to take me a while. But that is pretty much all I've been working on in terms of kind of other knitted projects apart from blankets. The thing that has had the major kind of input from me this week has been blankets. I'll share this one first.
I love blankets.
Arthur says he loves blankets. I've added another square, or I've crocheted up another square for my Mild Mayhem blanket. So this is what you'd seen before. I've managed to get these 3 squares done. These ones are joined. And then this week I also did this square. So this is, yeah, as I'm calling it, my Mild Mayhem blanket. And basically what I'm doing, I'm not following a pattern. It's just a giant granny square. But what I am doing is I am holding together 2 magic knot balls. So each of these magic knot balls are made with 4-ply scraps. Arthur, sweetie, a little bit quieter, please. Each of these magic knot balls are made with 4-ply scraps. And then I'm just holding them together. So it's completely random how it comes out. I've not done any colour management of the knot balls at all. As you can see, this one's got a sudden kind of really light section where I had 2 light colours together, but the rest of it's quite dark. But I'm really enjoying it. It's really fun crocheting them up and just kind of seeing how the colours play together. And then I will just join this one on. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do a row first or whether I'm going to kind of join it as a square and then go round like that. I don't know. I think I might do it row by row. So I will just join this one on the end and yeah, keep going. I'm quite enjoying the process of this. It's
Look,
really enjoyable.
I'm holding a flower.
What are you doing?
I'm holding a flower.
I can't see you though. It's playing Minecraft. So what else was I going to say? I have got 2 more magic knot balls. I didn't weigh them recently, but I'm pretty sure that each of these, when I did weigh them, was about 300 grams. So it's a significant amount of yarn in them, and crochet does eat yarn a lot quicker than knitting. So yeah, and I've got another 2 balls very similarly, which I think are about a similar weight. So we'll see. I've got no idea how much I'm going to need, but then this is scraps of the scraps, so it doesn't really matter, does it? And then the thing that has had the most knitting time this week is my Cozy Memories blanket, which is just, oops, oh god, it got attached to my other crochet blanket, there we go, which is here. Now, as many of you might have known, because I've been mentioning it, I am joining in with Sharon at SCR1 TNO Podcasts.
SCR1ND.
What's that about? Her knit along, her square a day knit along, and the idea is that you add a square or whatever. Some people are doing stripes, I think, on granny stripe blankets, but the idea came about from a Cozy Memories blanket, and the idea is that you add a square every day, so by the end of the year you have 365 squares. I thought that would be a great idea to try and get me to get more work done on this blanket. Now, of course, I completely fell behind, and the next quarterly check-in is at the end of June, and I need to have 182 squares by the end of June. So I have been working on this desperately to try and catch up. As of the moment, I've got 158 squares, which means that I need another 24 squares before the end of the month, which is not too bad. I haven't worked out exactly, but I'm trying to aim. When I checked it a week ago, I needed to knit kind of 2.5 squares a day in order to catch up. And I've been trying to aim to knit 3 a day. I had one day last weekend where I actually knit 5 squares in the day. So I've got a little bit of leeway there. But yeah, I'm desperately trying to catch up. So I've been adding a lot to this, as you will see. Every square with a stitch marker in has been added since you last saw this. So I have finished off kind of this bit. I've done this row. I haven't worked out what I'm doing on the corner yet. That's why that corner is blank. This whole row has been completed, as has this whole row here. And then there's a few little bits and pieces, but it's coming along.
Comment down below if you think it's pretty.
It is coming along, and I'm really enjoying it. I've been adding my 2018 Giddy Yarns advent calendar to it, so quite a lot of the colours are part of that. Were part of that. And I've also just started adding, with like these 2 in particular, I've just started adding last year's selection box. The one I did with 12 different dyers dyed up 20 gram mini skeins. So that one was from Ellen at Mrs. Lamb's Yarns, or Kaltenecker Ellen, however you best know her. And then this one was my one as well, which was Cinder Toffee. And is that the only ones, or have I started adding a couple more? I think I've added a couple more. They're around here. Are they around here? No, they're around here. Oh yeah, that one was down Sheepy Lane's one for that. But then I've added a different mini next to that because it went better with the colours. So yeah, so this has had a lot of work this week. It's very difficult to show, but it is growing, and I'm hoping that I can get those 24 squares knit this week. So, well, maybe not quite this week, but you know, by the end of the month anyway, so that I can keep up with it. But it does mean that it's kind of taking over my knitting life at the moment, and it is the main thing that I've been knitting on. So that means I haven't got much else knitting to show you. I do, however, have quite a lot of yarny goodness. Oh, actually, I was going to talk about one more thing. I was going to show you some stitch markers, because I ran out of stitch markers. I have quite a lot that I just loads of random ones. For this blanket in particular, I really like kind of the little lobster clasp ones, because they fit really, really nicely on the blanket. But I'd kind of run out because I've been knitting so many. So I made a few just for a bit of fun. I had some of the stuff here. I've ordered some lobster clasps now because I think they work better for this. But I had some, whatever these ones are called, lever back clasps. So I made some little stitch markers. So I made that one. I made that one. I made some really simple ones. Where's the other simple ones I made? So now I've got to find them now and you're going to get bored. There we go. I made these 3, just little simple ones. And then I just made some more, which I've got in here. It's quite fun to do, just make a few little ones. Okay, look, I made that one. I can get it to... Just little ones with beads and things like that. Just a little bit of fun. I quite enjoyed doing that the other evening. Right, so then what else was I going to say? Yarny goodness. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of yarny goodness. As you know, last weekend was the Wool Monty, and I had an absolute amazing response to my shop update as part of the Wool Monty. Yeah, really, really amazing. So thank you to anyone that bought everything, and thank you to everyone that supported my shop. It was absolutely fantastic. And as a result, I treated myself to a few things, some of which haven't arrived yet, and some of which have. So I will share with you what I have. So my little podcasty box is actually quite full. So what have I treated myself to? Let's start with this one, because you saw the yarn that Debbie donated to the podcast. I also purchased some bits from Debbie as well. So she has been doing these little bag and yarn kits in her shop, and I've been watching them for ages. She's had some really, really lovely ones. She's done some Winnie the Pooh ones, she's done some tea themed ones, and they're just really, really pretty. But she had these ones. So this one is her lilac bag, and it's got little pockets on the front here. So these are little pockets here. And then the lining inside is just a really pretty lilac lining, and they're little drawstring bags. Perfect for a sock project. And I love the little pockets on the front. I think they're really, really handy. And she does them as a bag and yarn set, and it comes with a little sock set that kind of matches the bag, as you can see. So this is the sock set that came with the colour I chose. My lighting's all over the place today. Let's see if I can move. Not really. This is the sock set that came with the bag I chose, and this is the, it just says the Botanical Garden Lilac sock set. So this is definitely going to become a pair of socks. Yeah, I need to start. I need more time to knit. So this is going to become a pair of socks, and that's absolutely gorgeous. And then she was also offering, she had a bit of a sale on her website, and she was offering random mini bundles, which were kind of a mix of semi-solids and speckled. So I ordered one of those, and this is the colour set she sent me, which are some lovely oranges and yellows. And this is great actually, because I do have a tendency to lean towards pinks, purples and blues. So it's really good to kind of have a different variety of colours to go in my blankets and things like that. So some of these at some point will end up in my Cozy Memories blanket. To be fair, they'll probably end up in all my blankets, because 20 grams goes quite a long way. My Cozy Memories uses less than 5 grams per square. I really, really want to start a hexagon blanket, which uses 10 grams per square. And then, yeah, the remaining scraps of scraps will end up in my mild blanket. And yeah, so this will probably end up in about 4 different projects. So that's the first bit of yarny goodness. And then I also ordered some lovely yarn from Beth at Beehive Yarns. I ordered these 2 colourways. So this one here is Rose Lichen, and it's just this gorgeous pinks, and I just love this pop of green in there. And this is on her Bardo base, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it's a high twist base. And then I got this one on the same base, and this is her Gasoline Alley colourway. It's really, really pretty. And I kind of like how they look together. I'm kind of contemplating putting those in some kind of 2-colour shawl together. I really like how they look together. What else? More minis. So I ordered this set of minis from Ellie at Craft House Magic because I just couldn't resist. This is her lockdown mini set. I'm sure you will have seen this pop up on a few podcasts and things like that. It's a set of 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. Are you going?
Oh, no.
don't know. It's a set of 7. Sorry, he knocked the camera there, didn't he? It's a set of 7 minis. And as you may know, Ellie at Craft House Magic dyes all her yarn inspired by or named after 80s songs. So I don't know which one's which, but the colourway names are Behind the Mask, I Want to Break Free, You Can't Touch This, Don't Stand So Close to Me, We'll Meet Again, From a Distance, and Basket Case, which were just the perfect names for a set of lockdown minis. He's back. Oh, careful, watch out for the wire. Don't jog the camera so much. That's it, up you come. Careful, mind your head. Goodness me. There we go. I just couldn't resist. It was so funny. It was so funny. So again, these will definitely be going into blankets. Definitely. Although I am actually quite tempted to create a pair of scrappy socks out of these. I mean, there's 7 minis, so I could quite happily get a pair of scrappy socks out of half of this and then still have 10 grams of each to go into a blanket. I don't know yet. She also very kindly threw in an extra mini skein in her Footloose colourway as well, which was very kind. Thank you, Ellie. And then more minis. I also ordered some minis from Tracy at Norah George Yarns, and that is this set. I just couldn't resist these bright colours. And this is one of her one-of-a-kind mini sets, set number 2, and it's just super, super pretty. So again, these will be going into blankets, because that's all I want to work on at the moment is blankets, blankets, blankets. I've got so many blankets on the go. I've got so many ideas for blankets I want to start. Yeah, it's just inspiring me at the moment. And then the last thing is a lovely gift that I received. And I didn't check to see whether I could reveal who the gift was from, so I won't do that. But I received this lovely little bundle of scraps in the post, a complete surprise, and these are going to go in a combination of blankets and also probably into some of my magic knot balls for my mild blanket. So that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. It was such a treat to get this parcel. She also included some lovely tea bags, which I have popped in my tea cupboard and have been enjoying in the evenings as well. So thank you very, very much for that. So that is all my yarny goodness. And having said that this was going to be a shorter episode, although I don't think I actually said that in this take. Maybe I said that in a previous take. It isn't. But anyway, last thing I wanted to talk to you about was a little bit of shop news. I don't have anything physical to share with you because I don't have a shop update planned immediately. But there were a few things I wanted to chat about. Firstly, I just wanted to mention advent calendars. There are not very many left. I think I've got about 7 or 8 10-gram advent calendars at full payment available, and maybe there might be a few advent calendars still available in the 10-gram advent calendars available in the payment plan. The payment plan will be finishing, the option to pay with a payment plan will be finishing at the end of June, because the first instalment of the payment plan, so the second instalment I guess technically, needs to be paid in July, so I can't offer more payment plans beyond that point. But yeah, I think I've sold out of 20-gram advents now, and I just wanted to say that this year, because of lockdown and because of the children being at home full time, and it's sounding more and more likely that from August Arthur will only be going back part-time and Jasper won't be getting the 30 hours that he should have been getting at nursery. So because of that, I can't add any more advents this year. So whatever is in the shop now is all I have got to offer. However, if the payment plan sells out before the end of June and you do want a 10-gram in the payment plan and it's not available on the shop, then get in touch, because I can always add another one and work that around. That's fine. It's just easier to have the listings as they are in the shop. Anyway, I'm rambling about that now. So that's that. In terms of next shop updates, I'm going to have a shop update on the 4th of July. It won't be anything new, but what I am going to do is I'm going to just have a little look. I've got quite a lot of stock that has been just sitting in the shop for quite a long time, not going anywhere. And I'm just going to reintroduce my sale section, so kind of a discounted section for end of line products. So colourways that I'm not likely to re-dye. There might be some bits from my winter collection that will be going in there, kind of non-seasonal stuff. and things like that. So you'll definitely be able to grab a bargain in there. And then my next big shop update will be on the 18th of July for the July Yorkshire Yarn Fest, because I am taking part in that again. I will be restocking some of the new collections from the Wool Monty, so certainly for the mini skeins will be restocked. I know a lot of you are still after some of the mini skein bundles that sold out quite quickly, so I'll be restocking the mini skein bundles for all of those collections, I think. And I'm also going to be launching some new colourways or a new collection. I'm doing something summer themed. I haven't quite planned it out yet, but there'll be a new kind of summer themed collection. I might do some sock sets. Haven't quite planned it out yet. If there's anything you would like me to do, any ideas you have, then again, by all means, leave me a message and I'll see what can do, because the wonderful person that suggested that wanted to see the flower fairies back, and that inspired me to create the new collection. That was brilliant. So thank you. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is, off the back of the Wool Monty, I have got a little bit of money that I could invest further in my business, and I'm trying to think about how I'd like to do that. And I'm contemplating stocking some needles. I'm torn between Knit Pro and Hire. I tend to use Knit Pro needles quite a lot. They are my go-to needle because they have a relatively affordable price point. I don't use them for socks because I do find that at the smaller size the joins are a bit catchy, and having used the Hire Sharps, which is what I use for socks most of the time, the joins are so much better that I do prefer them. But for bigger projects like shawls and garments and stuff like that, I tend to primarily use Knit Pros. So I'm torn between the two, Knit Pros or Hires. Obviously, it will completely come down to the price point, and it will completely come down to kind of their wholesale conditions and stuff like that. But what would you like to see? Would you be interested in needles? If I stocked needles, would it be worthwhile? Is there anything else that I could invest in that you would like to see? More bases could be a little bit tricky, because the issue then comes dyeing time. If I have more bases to dye up, then I'm never going to be able to dye up enough of each colourway on each different base. So that gets a little bit trickier. But yeah, if you've got any ideas of things you would like to see me stock in the shop that I could invest in, then let me know, because yeah, that would be interesting. Right, I think I've talked about everything that I was going to talk about now. Yeah, I think so. So thank you very, very much for watching and for putting up with my little interruptions. And I will be back again next week, hopefully with less interruptions, to see you all again, and hopefully I'll have more knitting progress to share with you. Thank you very much, and see you next week.
And I love you. I love you.